What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the weekly nerdy news. I'm your host, Big Cam, in today's episode 202 of Comically Boston, and we're covering all of last week's nerdy news and details and movies and news that came out around Hollywood and Marvel and DC and Star Wars. So much to talk about today, but let's jump right into it with our boy Colman Domingo. I've talked about him before on the show. He's a great guy, and he is making his directorial debut in a movie called Scandalous for Miramax, and it's going to be following the love affair between Kim Novakand, singer-dancer, and film star Sammy Davis Jr. in 1957. So this is going to be a period, set back in time, but it's going to be starring Sydney Sweeney and David Jonsson as Sammy Davis Jr. and Kim Novak, and it's going to be like kind of a little hot rom-com type of thing going on, I'm guessing, or even just like more of a biopic type of thing about their relationship. But either way, Colman Domingo directing, and then you got David Jonsson coming off of Alien Romulus. He was absolutely phenomenal as Andy in that movie, and he's gonna be playing Sammy Davis Jr. like I gotta love me some Sammy Davis Jr., so I'm into that. And Sydney Sweeney, I mean, is there any soul on the planet that doesn't like Sydney Sweeney? Like, come on. But moving on to the next bit of casting news, Tom Holland's been on a bit of a press run this week for his new non-alcoholic beer company, Beero, and he's somebody that struggled with alcohol addiction for a long time, so shout out to him and Zendaya, his girlfriend, fiance, wife, who knows at this point. But Mr. Tom Holland himself, Spider-Man, is now cast alongside Matt Damon in Christopher Nolan's new film. So Tommy Boy is going to have a busy old 2025. Just because as of what we know is filming next year for him, Spider-Man 4 will be filming, I believe, Avengers Doomsday films next year as well, early in the spring. So they're probably going to be filming both of those kind of back-to-back, probably down in Atlanta on those Marvel sets down there. And then he's going to be filming this Christopher Nolan movie with Matt Damon. So I don't know, but that sounds kind of good movie to me. I don't know what that movie that Christopher Nolan is developing is about, but I mean, it's Christopher Nolan. He's coming off of Oppenheimer. You know it's going to be a good movie. Like, come on. And now some unfortunate Marvel news is that for the Blade fans out there, Mahershala Ali's Blade has been delayed indefinitely, because it had a release date of November 7th, 2025, so they were probably approaching the date where they had to have been shot and starting to edit and starting to do VFX and that type of thing by. They probably could still do, more practical effects with blood and stuff like that, swords, guns, they don't necessarily need to do heavy VFX stuff for Blade, but still, they're cutting it pretty close for a Marvel release, like we're almost a year out from November. So they had to cancel their release date of November 7th, 2025 for Blade, and they're delaying it indefinitely in trying to figure out that script still. Poor Blade has been in development hell. But on a brighter side, if there's any Predator fans out there and you guys liked the last Prey movie that came out on Hulu, many people wanted to see that in theaters and they were very bummed that it came out on Hulu. I wasn't so bummed it came out on Hulu because at the time we were all still kind of home, so I was able to watch it at home and be perfectly fine. But if it came out like today on Hulu, I would have been pissed because I'm now back into the theaters. I'm going fairly, often. So for me, I want to see some good-ass films in theaters, like an Alien Romulus, like a new Predator movie. So taking the release date from Blade is Predator Badlands. And then around Twitter, I saw this post going around that director Dan Trachtenberg shot a secret Predator movie in addition to 2025's Badlands. So Predator Badlands is coming out November 25th, 2025, and there's apparently another secret Predator movie in addition to that movie, and it says it's not a sequel to Prey and will release before Badlands. So we're talking before November, we're going to be getting another Predator movie. So we're talking maybe 2 Predator movies coming out next year. Now, both of those movies, I hope one of them Badlands sounds like it's going to be set in the future from Prey, so we're not going to have like a direct sequel to Prey, but maybe in a nearer future, and it will be more like a Western type of thing, and it'll be like Western cowboys versus the Predator. That kind of sounds badass. The other secret Predator movie, not being a sequel to Prey, kinda, you know, Amber Midthunder in that Prey movie was phenomenal. So like, I would have loved to have seen her come back and be somebody that's fighting against the Predator or fighting with the Predator again. Like, the Predators are so badass, but so terrifying. So, you know, very, very good character to build a franchise and movies around. I hope they keep the aliens and the Predators separate again, you know, unless they're going to do it correctly and do a really badass Alien vs. Predator movie. But for the time being, I think they can stick to their own lanes, because Alien Romulus was phenomenal and Prey was great. So, you know, go back into your own lanes, do your thing. I'm excited for... They just announced a possible Alien Romulus sequel that they're working on as well, with Kaylee Spaney and David Jonsson returning. So that's kind of exciting stuff. But comment below if you're going to be here for the 2 possible Predator movies coming out next year in 2025. But because Blade got delayed, the rumor now has it that Blade will not be in development because they're developing something else that he might show up in. Maybe a possible Midnight Suns movie or TV show. Me personally, I would love to see Midnight Suns, right? Like, I've said this since the beginning. I saw Blade in the post-credit scene of Eternals 1. I would love for him to be in Eternals 2, and Eternals 2 has this big arc for Blade and Kit Harington's Black Knight, you know? Like, I would have loved for them to be together. It would have made sense for how that movie left us off. But instead, they kind of, you know, tucked their tails and ran because some people said they didn't like it. I said it way back when I think it was 2021 when Eternals came out. Eternals is a good movie, right? Like, it's incredibly hard to buy in on 10 brand new characters you've never met in their own standalone project. But you can't deny that that movie is beautiful. Shot incredibly well. Chloe Zhao did a phenomenal job. The scale of the Celestials and how they look is unbelievable, and how she handled 10 brand new characters, actually even more, 11 including Kit Harington, and then also the Deviants, right? Like, we're talking 10 main character superheroes just in the Eternals, and then they, you know, add on to there. Like, that's crazy stuff that they were able to do in that movie and still make you enjoy these characters and move forward with them. And I think a Midnight Suns would be a perfect idea for that, but maybe they're nervous because of the Eternals, and they're like, I don't know if we can do a group of people that we haven't seen before, but then at the same time they're doing Thunderbolts, so I mean, they can do a Midnight Suns. And imagine Midnight Suns with a Daredevil, with a Moon Knight, with a Punisher, with a Blade, maybe a Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, maybe some other folks in there. Like, in this picture alone, there's 2 guys in the middle underneath Doctor Strange that I have no idea who they are, you know, so I'm in, though, you know, like a Midnight Suns, Blade, you know, I would be totally in to see Blade be a part of a team rather than a solo movie. And after he does the team up, then we get the solo movie afterwards, you know, maybe even after Secret Wars or something. But if you're doing a Blade solo movie, I think it should be around Halloween time when that comes out. No, you know, it's going to do better in box office to be out around Halloween time. It feels good to have a holiday thing to go see that's Marvel or DC or that type of related. Like, right now, having Agatha All Along during this holiday season has been awesome. And then The Penguin running at the same time, just being a phenomenal HBO show. We're eating good right now, folks. Although the last 2 movies I've seen DC and Marvel related were Joker 2 and Venom 3. So you know, it's it. Yeah, we're gonna move on. New physical media is coming to us. We're going to be getting Mandalorian Season 3 on Blu-ray disc in the Steelbook, and also the complete first season of Ahsoka. And then they also announced, coming out on December 3rd is when all of these come out, they're also going to be doing a physical media of the complete first season of Hawkeye, and also Loki Season 2, which obviously I have Loki Season 1, Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, and I believe WandaVision, or I might not have got WandaVision yet, but that's on my list. You know, there's great to have physical media, even though in today's world it's not really used. But if you haven't seen the movie Leave the World Behind, there's never a better movie to explain to you why you should have physical media in your life. So go buy some physical media. Speaking of the Penguin just a second ago, before the season started, we knew John Turturro recast by Mark Strong. And Mark Strong did a fine job in the couple flashback scenes we saw him in. And I didn't think there was anything too bad with what Mark Strong's performance did. You know, like, he did a perfectly fine job. He didn't do anything crazy, right? And John Turturro said just recently that he did not have scheduling conflicts, in that he didn't want to do the Penguin because the script had a lot of violence towards women. And he goes, that's not my thing. And then I was like, okay, that's a reasonable thing to say. No, I don't think any man is just like, yeah, I like to abuse and beat the fuck out of women. Like, no, that guy's a psychopath, put him in jail. But like, his character in the Batman totally beat and abused women, and like, off screen killed Selina's mom, strangling her, and strangled that Russian friend to Zoe Kravitz's character, Selina Kyle, her Russian friend, Annika? I think her name was Annika. Strangled Annika over voicemail, right? So we hear him strangle somebody off camera. You don't just get that noise just out of the ether. He would have had to film that, and they didn't show him actually doing it, but they still got the audio from it, right? Like, so he would have still had to have done that. And then later in the movie, he like puts a pool cue and strangles Zoe, and Zoe scratches his face. So like, if you're against abusing women, why were you okay doing it in the movie? Because you were going to get paid more money to do it? I don't know. Like, I don't think this is a valid thing to have said this point, right? Like, this just makes John Turturro look bad, right? Like, because, you know, he didn't think about that comment further enough through that, like, he's like, yeah, beating women's not my thing. And then you look at the Batman and his character's beating women, and it's like, you're playing the same character. Like, it's not like you didn't already do this. Like, you're not stepping into a new character's shoes. Like, you're the same bad guy. Like, so it's just funny in my mind that John Turturro thinks that Carmine Falcone was a good guy in the Batman movie. Like, what was going through his head here? Because John Turturro, I mean, fine actor, did great as Carmine Falcone in the Batman. I don't think there's any reason for him to not have to have been in the Penguin. Like, we don't see him, like, we didn't see Mark Strong beat any women. Like, if anything, him choking out Zoe Kravitz is the worst we've seen Carmine do, right? Like, all we saw Mark Strong do in the Penguin was have scratches on his hand, console his daughter after we know he was the one that was abusive towards women. But like, we haven't seen him be abusive towards women. So like, what's your problem here, John Turturro? Your problem is that your fictional character is a bad guy? Okay? I don't know what his complaint is here, but alrighty then. And then we'll finish out the show with some Star Wars news, but also real quick, James Gunn and DC Studios released this picture of David Cornsweet doing a camera test for the first time in one of the suits for the Superman suit, and I can't wait to see this thing in live action, and just like all the wrinkles in the suit will probably be CGI'd out, and he'll just be nice and ripped and tight, like almost like Catwoman's suit was vac sealed to her. Like, I feel like that's how Superman's suit should be. Not because he likes tight clothes, because he's so ripped underneath them that the clothes are just like, we're hanging on for dear life. You know, like, that's how I picture Superman. Big and jacked, ripped. And I love when actors for movies get absolutely shredded, or actresses, like coming to mind, Katie O'Brien in Love Lies Bleeding. She got fucking ripped. She was a beast. But finishing off today's show with some Skeleton Crew pictures. And this show will be coming out in December, and I love the little ragtag bunch of kids and that little Max Rebo little fucker over there, little blue elephant trunk-nosed having. But, you know, little shot here with a guy with fur in the distance, maybe an animal of some kind, and he's looking up to the stars, and there's little red lights in the sky. Interesting. What are those red lights? This little kid seems to have dirt or maybe a cut on his face. Seems like he's been running through the mud and maybe trying to escape somewhere. And then we see that same little kid before he's all dirty and cut up in little Max Rebo here. I don't think that's his name, but Max Rebo is the only other creature that looks like this. He was just playing music in the cantina, I believe. But yeah, maybe this is his son or relative of some kind. Same species at least, but yeah, this show looks fascinating to me because it's Jon Watts, so the same director that did the Spider-Man movies, so we know he knows how to write teenagers or kids and bring them on an adventure. So, and Jude Law's in here as a possible Jedi. So it's going to be Jude Law and these kids getting on a plane and then going across the galaxy trying to find their way home or somewhere, trying to find their way to someplace. You know, so I'm into that just side of things. Of just like, it's these kids going on an adventure, and it's E.T., you know, it's like suburbia, Star Wars, right? Like these kids are all from like a suburbia on a planet, right? Like, why can't a planet have a suburbia with kids, and those kids end up finding their way onto a ship, and that ship just takes off with them on it? Like, I don't know where this story's going, but I know I'll be covering it on the channel in December, so comment below your thoughts on Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Are you interested? Do you not really care much? Are you going to be checking it out either way? I'd love to hear these things down below. Are you going to be copping any physical media? What do you think about John Turturro's comments? Marvel's slate for 2028. I don't know if I mentioned this actually. Marvel, after delaying Blade, it did have its 2028 slate updated to February 18th, May 5th, and November 10th of 2028. So all three of those movies will be coming out after Avengers Secret Wars. So I don't know if that could be a Doctor Strange 3 or Blade or whatever these can be, but I'm pretty sure Doctor Strange 3 is going to come out before Secret Wars. But who knows? Three more movies into the future that we have to look forward to, so stay tuned, y'all. My name is Big Cam. If you've made it this far in the video, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're new, hit that bell so you don't miss future videos. If you'd like to support me further, you can follow my other social medias, all those links down in the description below. Big Cam, 2 G's in that big, pretty much anywhere. Go check out my movie reviews over the last week, and stay tuned for more stuff coming out this week. This is coming out on Monday the 28th, I believe. So later today, The Penguin episode 6 will be coming out later today, so stay tuned for that breakdown. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you beautiful people in the next one. Peace.